All right, folks, what we have here is a 2012 Toyota Venza 3.5 V6. We're doing an alternator. All right, disconnect the negative battery. The alternator, I picked this from AutoZone 15542. Okay, it's a tough one. It's a little hard to get to. A lot of the bolts are frozen in there since 2012. It's now 2025. So, tell you how we got to where I am right now. It's getting dark, so I'm going to take a break and finish it up tomorrow. Take the engine cover off. It snaps right off. Take the belt tensioner. Take the belt off. Okay? And what I did was I tied the belt tensioner up out of the way because there's a bolt that's between two pulleys. One on top, one on the bottom. There's a bolt right in the middle. So I want to move the tensioner out of the way so you get a little bit more room to get to it. All right. From here, there's a 10mm bolt over here on the valve cover. Takes this harness off a little bit. There's a 10mm bolt over here on the alternator. Takes this harness loose a little bit. 10mm bolt to take the power wire off the alternator. Then you have a plug over there. Just squeeze the tab on the side, pull it out of the way. This one over here, squeeze this tab, pull this out of the way. And this harness is up. You can pull it off to the side. Once it's off to the side, there's a 14mm bolt over here that holds the alternator, goes this way. Now this is the tough one. The one on the other side going down is also a 14mm, but it's underneath this water pump outlet. And like I said, it's between those two pulleys over there. Okay, so the only way to get to it was right through here. I tried 3/8 drive. I just couldn't get enough muscle into it to get it to go. No matter how I pulled it up and moved it, just could not. So what I did was I got a 14mm in a 1/2" drive with a breaker bar. And I was able to get that right through here, right to the top, just the way the flashlight is, and I was able to crack it loose. Could not do it with a regular 3/8. It was on there, okay? Because remember, you got the bolt, and then you got the aluminum body of the engine, the two different metals. Makes a big bond. Sounds like you're gonna snap the bolt. So the two different metals do not like to mate with each other. But the 1/2" drive is the only way to get it off. Took me a good hour just to fiddle around with it and find the right, things. I tried deep sockets, short sockets. I tried a ratcheting wrench, you name it. Cannot get to it. But anyway, eventually it does come out. So I got that bottom bolt off. I got this top bolt off over here. And this is the tricky part. In the back of the alternator, maybe you can see it. Probably not. There's a little L bracket. Right? It looks just like this. It's going to connect on the alternator and goes into the engine like this. Right? So right here on this finger over here, just pretend there's a hole there with a bolt, which is this one here. It's a 12mm bolt. Okay? Goes onto the bracket and holds it onto the engine. So my hand is the alternator here, and this is the little tiny dopey bracket. Okay? This bracket is bolted to the engine this way. So if you think it's just two bolts to get that alternator off, you're wrong. And the only way you can get through that is with this here. 12mm with a deep, with a, looks like a 6" extension. Lean it right across this harness that you see right here, this little tiny one, and follow across. You see that bolt right there? Okay, that holds the, that bolt right there. It's the one that holds the AC compressor. Just follow along, go that way, and that's where the bracket is. All right, I'm gonna try to take this alternator out so you can see what the bracket is before I call it a night. But anyway, I loosened this all up. Oh, I took that 10mm bolt off too to give me a little room, but this whole harness is all part of this, so it's not gonna move. So I'm just going to tie this off to the side a little bit. Okay, I got a little wide tie. I'm gonna tie it off to the side, and then the alternator should slide right through here, hopefully. All right. I took the lower radiator hose off too to give me some room. Then I bent it over that way, and it's holding against the AC line. All right. Then I plugged it for now because it was leaking and it was annoying the crap out of me. But anyway, the thing is dangling loose right now. Okay. So we're gonna figure out how I'm gonna wiggle this thing out. I'm gonna tie this off to the side. Give me a little more room, and hopefully it'll come out through here. Okay, I'll move this out, and that's it. So I'm gonna try it. Let's try to get it out. There's that bracket, by the way. See it right there? Okay, you can see the bolt where the 12mm bolt will go into. Okay, it's attached to the alternator. That little L bracket. That's a pain in the butt. All right, I'm just trying to wiggle this out. Find a good way somehow. We'll figure it out. A lot of finagling here, people. If I find the secret, I will let you know. All right, good morning. All right, so looking at this, there's no way that alternator is going to come out through this way because it's got this bracket for the motor. It's got the water outlet there. Got the dipstick here. And there's not much of a space between the fan and this in order to get out. So from what I can tell, this panel's going to have to come out. The fan's going to have to come out. The fan assembly. It's going to have to come out. And I believe might be able to not take off this metal. There's a metal panel here that goes across, covers up the radiator. Not sure we have to take that off, but we'll see if we can wiggle the fan out of here or move it at least off to the side. We'll save some time. All right, but yeah, this got to come out. This got to come out. The upper radiator hose has to come out. And we'll see how the fan bolts or clips on, and then we'll raise it up. That's the only way. All right. So let's do it. All right, here's where we are. Let's take this panel off. There's a bunch of clips running right along here. All right. The ones in the front here with the little dot in the middle, those are easy. You just push the center notch in, and then the clip comes right out. All right, take that, put that off to the side. Then you got this air intake. All right, it's 2 bolts over here. Don't forget, this is a 2012, so things are going to snap. This one, the bolt snapped. All right, don't take this duct work out. This piece over here has a bunch of screws here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the lock, and then 7 in the middle for the lock. Okay, then you unplug your horns. Okay, there's a little tab off to the side. As soon as I get this panel off, I'll show you. All right, see if I can get it for you. Dun, 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 dun. Here she is. All right, this little tab right here, just squeeze this tab right here, and the connector will come right out. So instead of taking the horns off and then dangling them, and then they can actually damage the radiator, this should lift up and out of the way nice and calm. All right, let's put this off to the side. Okay, now this ductwork has to be removed too because it's not flexible. This is attached to the air cleaner back there. But if you think this just pulls out, you're wrong. You got to take the battery out. The battery comes out. This little plastic tray that sits in there comes out, and look what you see. 10mm bolt. Bolts on to the chassis over there, and then this lowers down. Take the 2 rubber hoses off of your clips here. Take this up, out of the way, along with your battery tray. All right. Put that off to the side. All right. Put that off to the side. That'll sit there. There was a connector over here. Mine is broken. See, as it gets older, you can see it broken. So there was another connector to that air intake. Over here, there's 3 clips. 1, 2, and then 3. All right. And then this got connector over here for the fan controller. Just push this little tab over here. Let's unplug this. This is going to bend up and out of your way. All right. This is gonna go here somewhere. All right, I'll worry about that when I get to that point. How about there? Okay. Now, up to this point here, you notice that everything just wobbles around. To get the fan assembly out, there's 1, 2, 3 little clips here. The way these come out is you got to squeeze these little tabs here, okay, with one hand, and another hand you try to push it out a little bit. And now this fan is going to separate from the radiator. So what you want to do is you want to look around to make sure there is nothing else holding, touching, or grabbing anything that's going to prevent you from taking this whole assembly out. Okay, so I want to lift it up and want to get it out. Might have to get it out away from this radiator snout and that piece over there. All right, so I'm gonna have to pull this back a little bit and we'll see what happens. All right, just gonna do that since I need both hands to do it. Okay, a couple of key things over here. Remember the harness for the fan motor. Take this clip off here, off the body too. All right, gives you more of a room. As you can see, it leaned over this way a little bit. And then there's nothing that holds it on the bottom, so technically it just lifts up. But this is going to hit this, the snout, and this side is going to hit this. So you want to just bend this back a little bit and just get it around to the front of the snout of this, and it comes out. That's also the hose is attached to this clip over here, so you want to move the hose out and off to the side and then lift it. All right, so once you get it out past these 2 little spouts here, the whole assembly should come out in your hand. All right, so just like that. I don't see anything else attached to it. This should come out as one piece. There you go. Okay, nice and easy. It's plastic, everything's fragile. Connectors, everything can break. Just want to let you know that. All right, so here we are. I can see nice how this alternator is going to come right out. All right, but as you can look around, you can tell. What I would recommend also, get a piece of cardboard over here to cover up your radiator in case something does fall. You do not want to ruin your radiator. Even though this is the original one, I'm not in the mood to change it right now. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna get a piece of cardboard, cut it up right here in this area, because this is where I'm going to be moving things around. It should come out right through here. I don't think I have to fish it through here because basically the cat's in the way anyway. So it's going to have to come through here. I wonder if I can tie this back a little bit. Just give me some more room. All right, so I'm going to do that. Alternator is already loose as a goose. It should come right out with that little bracket that bolts to the engine. All right. All right, there's my little Fugazi cardboard setup. Okay, so I don't ruin the radiator. And you're gonna need to, because remember that little bracket that's in the back? Okay, all the way in the back. It's hard to tell, but it's a hole with a clip that holds a harness, and the clip goes this way, goes up. The only way you're gonna get that is with your little tool and try to pry it and break the clip and bring it down. Otherwise, there is a 12mm bolt on the side to take the bracket off, but you can't get in there because of the dipstick and of course the exhaust manifold over here. All right, so just work on it, pry on it, and the harness will come out. And now we're just going to wiggle it out of here. All right, let's see if I can set you up over here and we'll take a look. All right, nobody said it's going to look pretty. All right, let's see if we can get this sucker out of here. Okay, a little connector over there, radiator can move, a little space. The bracket is hitting the shield. There you go. All right, stay away from the radiator. Around the dipstick, yes, and it comes around. All right, there you go. There's that bracket I was telling you guys about. Okay, this is the clip. The clip clips this way, so you can't even get in there to grab it. You know, it's like a little prong that holds it. All right, so I just took a tool over there, you know, the regular door panel clip tool over here, and I just pried it down, broke it off. All right, so here, there's that little pain in the butt bolt, and this is the alternator. All right, so now we're gonna go and swap out these little brackets and put it back in. All right, so yeah, definitely the only way to get this out was that way. And you can see clearly there is the bolt, the one that goes into the block. All right, and that's it. Here's your harness. There's your little clip. I don't know if I'll be able to put that clip back on, but you'll be all right. Basically, it's just holding it up away from the compressor. But we'll try to force it in. Hopefully we'll wire tie it somewhere. All right, so I'm going to transfer this alternator bracket over to the new one, and then we're going to throw it in, and everything goes backwards the way that we removed everything. All right, if I didn't tell you before, I think I did. That's the alternator. 15542 for the Venza. All right, that's the bad boy. Like most alternators, there's usually just a top screw and a bottom screw. That sort of holds it. But I noticed that when I took the bottom screw off, it didn't go all the way back to the bottom. Okay, like this one goes straight through. The nut is on this side. This one goes onto the bracket, nothing on this side. So that gave me a clue that there was something else back here that I don't know about. And that was it. That dumb little bracket right there. All right, and it only goes in one way. You see a little slot there. All right, it's going to go right in the same slot, because sometimes when you have these brackets that's not marked specifically, that bracket can be off when you tighten it, and then you'll never line up that silly hole over there. All right, so this is it. Looks exactly like it. This is a lifetime warranty. That's what you want, because you only want to do this job once. But if you have to do it again, you want to make sure that the part, which is over $200, is going to be okay. All right, so I believe this was like $250. It's probably a lot more now. All right, let's continue. All right, 12 millimeter, people. Break it out. Back in here. Goes into that little slot. Perfect. Now we're going. Tighten it up. All right. Then it's time to put this whole assembly back in. Hey, remember I tore that lower alternator bolt? Remember I had the belt tensioner bent all the way as far as I can go, and I wire tied it up there? Because I'm going to show you why. Look at that bolt. Okay. See if I can show it with a flashlight here. See that bolt? Look how close it is to that tensioner. It's actually just about touching the belt. So even if you move the belt off to the side, it'll be hard for you to get a little socket in there. All right? That's why I wanted to show you there. That lower bolt will cause you to put that bolt on an angle, because you're trying to avoid that pulley, and you're going to end up stripping that bolt. Okay? And of course, that aluminum piece is part of the engine. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the belt tensioner tool, bend it all the way up, and I'm going to wire tie it up over there, out of the way. The other thing is, when you buy, if you don't buy a new alternator, you buy these remanufactured ones or rebuilt ones. All right, right up here on the alternator, there's a bushing. All right, the way it's designed is that this bushing is supposed to slide a little bit. Okay, so when you draw in the bolt over here, it's going to pull this and make that tighter. But the problem is that when they sandblast these alternators, they make it so solid that it does not move. So now you're going to have a hard time putting it into the bracket. So what I did was I used my whiz wheel or my cutoff tool, and I grinded this down a little bit so that I can have a little play. Because you want a little play in there, so when you put this thing in there, all right, you need it in order to line up the bottom bolt. Otherwise, this is hard as a rock. Then when you force it in, you don't have that play to put that bolt in there, and that's another bolt that's going to end up stripping. All right, so that's a little tip there for you guys. All right, just flatten it out a little bit, give you more play. All right, let's go do that belt tensioner thing. All right, here's another tip for you guys. Definitely put the bottom bolt on first while this is hanging loose off this mount. All right, because it makes it easier to make sure that the bolt is going to go in nice and true. Then you flip the alternator up, get it in this ear. Now what happens is that sometimes it'll be kind of cocked. So when you put the bolt in, it'll go through this first ear of the alternator, but it won't catch the threads on this side. A lot of people are going to force it. Don't force it. If you force it, you're going to strip the threads, and then you're going to mess up the bolt, or you're going to mess up the nut that comes with the alternator. So the trick is, take this same long bolt, put it this way, okay? Thread it to the nut. The bolt will go through this ear and center it. So now this bolt here would be centered halfway. When you go this way, it'll go centered halfway. And then when you're done, it'll go in with a breeze. Okay? There you go. So both of them, the bottom one I put it in about, I guess about this much, maybe 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch. Gave me enough play to get this one. And now we're gonna hassle and try to get that one in the back. All right? Hopefully I don't drop it. That's the 12mm one that bolts it from the bracket of the alternator to the engine. All right? Let's try it. All right, for that bolt that goes in the back, little trick of the trade, a little black tape just to secure it, just on the edge, won't fall out. And when you tighten it up, just that little bit of tape is going to rip off. Or if it stays, it stays. You don't need it. Okay? Let's go. All right, so after about a half an hour of fiddling with that third bolt, I have decided to leave it out. Because you know how many times I dropped it and fished it out? So, before I lose it altogether, I'm going to forget about it. Because the problem is that the bracket, remember the bracket went on the alternator first. And what happens is that the hole does not line up. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm just going to throw the camera in there for now. All right? So, I'm not going to fight with it. The bracket part has to be loosened up, and then you can move it around to line it up. Because remember, all these little modifications here, it's not exactly perfect. All right, so I'm just going to tighten the alternator up and continue with the fan and put everything else back together. All right. So yeah, I decided, leave the bolt out. Not going to make a difference. There's two big 14mm bolts holding it on. And as for that harness, I can't put the clip back on, but I'm going to see if I can wire tie it up and out of the way to this harness over here. That's all. I'll find a way to keep it off the compressor. All right, alternator is in, nice and secured. Now it's time to put the electric fan in. Time to take my Fugazi cardboard box out from the radiator. All right, everything looks clear. I took the radiator hose out of the way, vacuum hoses out of the way, harness out of the way. The fan should go in just the way it came out. Okay, let's do that, and then we'll continue. By the way, if you're wondering where the bottom of the fan clips onto, right here. See these two little things? They go right inside there. There's one there and one there. All right, they're just gonna go straight in, just like that. All right, and then of course these three will clip onto these things here. One of the pretty much simplest fans I ever removed. Better than unbolting it, that's for sure. All right, let's continue. All right, the hardest part was trying to get it in this way, because the motor will hit this exhaust manifold and that AC line. Put the rubber hose around that clamp that's there. Line up the two little clips on the bottom. That'll be that. And then this here is just going to clip on. Okay. This one's going to go in here. This one's going here. This one's going here. There you go. So this is all set. Now we're going to go with the harness back on. Okay, I'm going to run this harness back, put them into the clips where they belong, and then the ductwork, the battery tray, upper radiator hose. Let's finish this up, get that all done. Okay. All right, so here we are. The wire harness snaps right in. The vacuum hoses attaches to this ductwork. The ductwork goes here with the 10mm bolt. Okay, then you got this little plastic battery tray that sits over it. It falls into the holes that are there. Now we're off to this metal support, radiator support, that's going to lay across here. The 3 bolts over here, 2 on this side, 2 on that side, and then plug in the horns. All right, that's what we're going to do. And this one, of course, goes on top. All right, so let's do that. All right, not sure where I ended up last, but yeah, putting the belt back on, yeah, that was a pain in the butt. Put the belts back on, lower the radiator hoses back on, water connectors on the alternator, that one. I wire tied that harness that goes to that bracket for the alternator. I just did that. All right, 10mm bolt there, 10mm bolt here. Plug back this connector, 10mm bolt there. Upper radiator hose, the hoses, this plastic clamp. Put the battery back together. I have to drill this out because it broke. Probably drill this one out too because this broke. This just holds the air intake, so I wouldn't worry about that one too much. But this one, to retain the battery, I'd rather do that. And you know what? You could reach the back. So worst case scenario, drill this out. You could put a nut and bolt in there. All right. Otherwise, you can wire tie it. All right. Then we'll put the antifreeze in it, and then we can run it. Oh, and I got to fix the connector for my air temperature. So the wires are so thin, they just snaps right off. All right. So those 2 pieces are the panels that I have to put back on. The battery. So technically, I could put antifreeze in it and let it run. All right. So while I'm doing that, I'm gonna go and let it run. So I'm gonna pour some antifreeze in there. I want to get going. All right. So I put some antifreeze in there. I'm gonna start it up. I'm gonna check for codes. There's nothing in the engine, nothing in the ECT. But there is something here in the VSC. Read the code. Low or high power supply voltage, right? Because the battery in the alternator went bad, right? What's the next one? Control module communication bus off. Wasn't communicating one computer to another. Could be from the battery alternator. All right, so let's hit OK. Let's go back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to erase it. Eraser seated. Read that again. Okay, so we got no codes left. We're all done. Let's go and start this bad boy up. Starting up normal. Got my radio back. Nothing weird on the dash. Nothing weird on this dash over here. All right, so we're just gonna let it run. Let me air it out a little bit here. Draw down the windows. Gonna run it. And we're gonna fill it up. There you go. Oh, already didn't burp yet. Most of it's going to come out for now, so it settles. Let's continue. So we're going to run it until all the air comes out of it. Because remember, we drained the system, so it's got air. So when the air comes out, it's going to push the antifreeze up and out. So it's good to have like a little turkey baster, or I got the antifreeze tester. I squeeze it out and I suck some of it out. I want to keep it below a certain level until all the air comes out. Alright? So once it comes up a little higher, I suck some out and I lower it. Just waiting for the thermostat to open. Because right now, this is still cold. See how it's bubbling up? Okay, it's going to push itself out. So I'm going to keep it drained until it opens up the thermostat. Alright, there you go. There's your alternator change. I'm going to leave you guys here. Okay, just got to put those two panels back together. I drilled this hole out already. Put a nut and bolt in there. I'm going to work on this one, or I'm going to leave it alone. Depends. Alright, and that's it. Antifreeze is full, running, burping, charging just fine. Alright, I'm going to leave you guys. Thanks for watching.